This lecture is going to discuss meter and time signatures. I've got some few points that I want to talk about meter and then give you a few definitions. Meter is really an invisible part of music. It's not something that you will hear or see so much as something that you're going to feel. And the rhythms that you're going to hear are going to fit into that meter. We can also think of it as kind of a ruler that gives us a template to put rhythms onto. Another word I like to use is continuum. It's a line that just continues on indefinitely for as long as the piece is. And we already told you that it gives you a template for rhythms there. So I want to give you three definitions of meter, or three different ways you can think about meter. First of all, it's the pattern of stressed and unstressed beats. If you had a dance song or drum beat that was just one loud beat over and over and over again, it would be very unmusical. Even the silliest dance music you might listen to on the radio has some sort of stress and unstressed beats in there, and that's where you get the variety in meter. You can also think of meter as divisions along the continuum of music. That's the idea of thinking of meter as a type of ruler that would show you where your notes would fit and how those notes would fit in with a piece of music. And finally, cycles of regularity that help organize the music. There's this idea that beat one comes around and around and around, and these cycles repeat over and over again. So, like I said before, a very unmusical version of this would be something that was just one loud beat over and over and over again. Sort of like just like that's a metronome, so that's just giving you one beat over and over again. But if we add some interest to that, we've got maybe a 2-count pattern, which would be a typical march, emphasizing 1 over and over again, and then 2 would be the unemphasized beat. You could also have a 3-note pattern, which would be a typical waltz. Or in jazz, where you actually emphasize beats 2 and 4 instead of 1 and 3. So that's kind of another way of thinking of that. You can also think of divisions along a continuum. So if we go back to that march example, emphasizing beats 1 and 2, you've got just your main beats. But we could also think of some divisions along that. If we were to divide each of those beats in half, you would have a note that falls in between those. Or if we divided those in half again, you would end up with 4 subdivisions for each beat. You'll notice that my main tempo didn't change as far as the beats go. I just added in subdivisions there, and that's another important function of meter. And then finally, cycles in the continuum. This idea that beat 1 will come back over and over and over again as it comes around, this cycle idea. So there you have 3 definitions of meters and time signatures. Time signatures will do 2 important things. They tell you the number of beats per measure, or beats per cycle, and then they also tell you how each beat is subdivided. And in the next lecture, we're going to look at some examples of 2 different examples of time signatures and how they function differently.